good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It's Good Tuesday. We have all the good news that we were able to find for this Tuesday since last Tuesday, because everyone needs a little hope in humanity sometimes, and we're going to find the best of it that we can. This is the first and only international game show, Before Coffee, a father and daughter podcast in which we look up our stories right before we've started. We just got caffeine in our bodies and we're learning to speak and read live on stream. Let's roll that segue wheels, but first, get into today's headlines. I'm trying to find my actual news stories. There we go.
Yeah, helpful.
Today on Good Tuesday, groundbreaking treatment gives hope to people with untreatable blindness. And orphaned orangutan returns to wild home after 4 years of rehab in jungle school.
Ooh, wow. Greetings and salutations for Good Tuesday. We have a double amputee. Let's do this again. A double amputee from climbs 7 large peaks. Plus, the California drought is over after 25 years.
Trevor Project receives $45 million from Mackenzie Scott after difficult years and federal funding cuts. Plus, preschool teacher gets a sweet surprise bridal shower from her Texas class before wedding.
And the big good news from the United States, which is being virtually ignored with all the bad news, but we've seen it covered every day. The Buddhist monks walk for peace. It's not virtually ignored, but...
In my culture news, these 5 European sites honor David Bowie on the 10th anniversary of his death. Let's celebrate his miraculous life.
And it's National Shop for Travel. And that first thing you're going to need to shop for is that passport. It's January 13th, 2026 on Before Coffee.
Okay, let's look at the green screen now.
With the new motto.
It's still being naughty.
Okay.
Over here.
You're not listening.
There we go. There we go. Start that. I wish I could leave my green screen there, but I just can't. I have to move it. Your camera angle is always different every day because I have to readjust it every time.
The world is... Nothing's ever the same. It's called entropy.
Yeah, it makes things, it spices up life or something.
Yeah. So, by the way, I got to do a motto. Maybe I did record a couple of endings yesterday. Play a little harmonica. I could send you the first clip so you can probably slap them together. Like and subscribe to Learn the Score with limerick, haiku, and metaphor. That's our new motto. What do you think?
Okay, our new tagline.
What do you think? Just say okay. It's okay, or you love it, or you hate it, or it sucks.
Well, I still wanted. Did you say something about not being artificial intelligence?
I wanted it to be quick.
Well, it's the thing that plays at the end of the video, so it's not quick. It's pretty long.
Like and subscribe to Learn the Score with limerick, haiku, and metaphor. That's pretty long. It's a good 15 seconds, I think, if I say it slower.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's too short.
I don't.
It's a 30-second outro.
Why? I can make that take 25 seconds, but yeah.
Okay. Well, just record
Did you say
and
it's a
send it to me
15-second
then.
outro? I already did record it.
Let's roll our segue wheel for our first story.
I'll try to work into artificial intelligence.
Our first two good stories.
It doesn't roll off the tongue.
Sarcasm.
Oh, sarcasm. I've been using that already. It hasn't been working.
This first story is coming out of the UK by The Independent. Written by, who's it written by? Storm Newton. Specialists injected the eyes of hypotony patients with HPMC, hydroxyl propyl methicellulose, a clear and colorless gel.
Holy crap.
Yeah, it's a medical term. A groundbreaking medical advance has offered renewed hope to individuals suffering from a rare, untreatable form of blindness, with a low-cost gel injection successfully restoring sight. This innovative procedure, which works by normalizing the pressure within the eye to improve vision, has been described by specialists as not dissimilar to cosmetic fillers due to its mechanism.
Oh.
The impact is already profound, as one participant in the study can now enjoy skiing with her son and anticipates regaining her driving license. The treatment targets hypotony, a debilitating condition affecting approximately 100 people in the UK annually, where abnormally low eye pressure distorts the eye shape. The pioneering research was spearheaded by London's Moorfields Eye Hospital, supported by funding from Moorfields Eye Charity. Patients received injections of hydroxypropyl methicellulose, HPMC, a clear colorless gel directly into their eye. HPMC is usually used in surgery to maintain the eye's shape during operations, or to coat its surface for protection and to prevent it from drying out. Harry Petushkin, consultant ophthalmologist at Moorfield, said, "Everybody who's ever had an eye surgery will have this gel in or on their eye at some point, but normally that gel is washed off or washed out at the end of surgery. We don't leave it inside the eye, but it's actually a really safe substance if you are leaving it inside certain people's eyes, and it allows it to act as a bit of like a filler, so in many ways it's not dissimilar to cosmetic fillers. It fills the space, but in this context, it fills the space with something that's transparent and see-through, and allows you to give a certain amount per patient to fill the eye up to the size it's supposed to be. So, eyes are supposed to be round. This person's eye is shaped like a crescent. It's not working, right? It's not going to work as an eye. But if you fill it up with some more see-through matter, it's a bit like if you're pumping up a ball. You can pump it up exactly the right size, and then the eye can see much better. And then there's an image of somebody who you can tell has one eye that is not normal, right? You're like, oh, that eye looks weird. Probably because it was oddly shaped before they put the gel in. Hypotony can be caused by a number of different diseases, according to Mr. Petrushkin, as well as trauma, inflammation, or complications after surgery. He added, up until now, there's really been no useful long-term management plan for it, because we've had plans, but all of them had quite a lot of problems. The current standard treatment for hypotony had been to fill the affected eye with silicone oil. However, this can cause toxicity to the eye and is not great in the long term, Mr. Petrushkin said. He told PA, the fluid that fills our eye is pretty similar to water in terms of seeing through it, whereas if you hold up a bottle of oil, it bends light more, and so if you're trying to look through oil, your vision is going to be worse and very magnified. The advantage of using a gel rather than silicone oil is that you can actually see through it much better. And silicone oil, magical as it is, causes a lot of toxicity to the eye, so has up until now been the gold standard, but it's not great. The gold standard is more like the bronze standard. The research published in the British Journal of Ophthalmology, I literally said this word, ophthalmology, I can't say the word now. Eye doctors, the Journal of Eye Doctors, included 8 patients with a hypotony whose eyes were injected with HPMC every couple of weeks. Experts found the injecting the infected eye not only restored its shape, but also restored sight in 7 patients after 12 months of treatment. So a whole year, and 7 of those 8 patients had their eyesight back. Vision was measured using sight charts, and there have been no serious side effects to date, Mr. Petrushkin said. All patients needed regular checkups during and after treatment, and in some patients, injections were able to be stopped after the eye was restored to its normal size. The body was like, hey, my eye is supposed to be shaped like this? Thanks for letting me know. Nikki Guy, 47, who has been under Mr. Petrushkin's care since 2019 and took part in the study, told PA, I'm so close to being able to drive again with my vision in my left eye. If it stays like this for the rest of my life, I would be just exceedingly happy. I've been able to take my son skiing. I love taking photographs, so I can do that again. There are still challenges with my vision as it is, but for where I was, it was just phenomenal. Mr. Petrushkin runs an all-day hypotony clinic at Moorfields, the only one of its kind in the world. But prior to this, he said patients would have been told, there's nothing more we can do. Speaking of Mrs. Guy, he said, she was a young patient who had a young family. I was just very frustrated that there was nothing that medicine could really do to keep her seeing. Hello, Chu. Thank you for checking in for your daily elixir. I'm lucky to work in a place with a lot of amazing people, and we put our heads together and thought that we could try injecting this gel, which is a gel that we've been using for decades. Moorfields has treated 35 hypotony patients in this way so far, and Mr. Petrushkin said the results are holding up. He is now applying for funding for a large clinical trial to test different gels. Can you improve it? Can we find any worrying side effects that could happen? Because they only tried it on 35. 35 is not a large sample size. There's all sorts of different people out there with different eyes. So you gotta see if you can get more people, 1,000, 10,000 people trying out this gel. The goal is to figure out what gel involves injecting patients a few times as possible, he told PA. Ideally, we'd be able to find a product which expands slowly, so that we can inject a bit, but it slowly expands, so we're not having it top it up, Mr. Petrushkin added. Oh, like a foam gel. We're working with bioengineers all over the world, but particularly at UCL to develop products that do that. Mr. Petrushkin stressed that this treatment is not a cure for blindness, but could be used on people with other eye conditions. This is a treatment which is amazing for people who have visual potential, and as you are capable of good vision, but your eye is currently not letting you achieve that, he said. It's not a treatment to bring back or fight back against blindness, where there is no vision at all. He added, my hope would be that as the project develops and as our knowledge in this area expands, our knowledge is really rudimentary, we understand where we can intervene to stop people from losing vision altogether. So there's your good news about if you happen to have hypotony, you might want to look at signing up for this study, or hopefully getting that he gets his funds for a study, and you can sign up for it to see if you can get your eye shape put back to the round shape it's supposed to be. And that's my story. And if you're talking, I can't hear you.
It's okay, you didn't want to hear that. I was adjusting that. I probably didn't fix it anyway, but I was adjusting.
No, you definitely look less white now. I have to agree.
Less white?
Yeah. More pink, less like a piece of paper.
Well, you know the old saying, an eye for an eye, huh? An eye for an eye.
Hey!
I
guess it's now a gel for an eye.
Yeah. I had a cousin who was, he was a kid, he was, they called him Four Eyes. Everywhere he went, Four Eyes, Four Eyes. Mm-hmm. Hey, Four Eyes, look, it's Four Eyes. Terrible, awful. And then he got glasses. Oh. They called him Eight Eyes. Because he had they called him Eight Eyes. Never mind. That's a joke. It's not sarcasm.
Nope, I got it. You don't have to explain it. Right. Just let the joke sit there, and if nobody gets it, that's their problem.
Right.
Okay, my next story is a shorter one, and it's about an orangutan that has returned back to its home after being in jungle school rehab. This is on Good News Network by our dear Andy Corbley, always delivering that good news. A female orangutan that was captured as a juvenile has been released back into the wild after 4 years of jungle school. Found chained to rafters of a wooden cabin in the Indonesian side of the island of Borneo, Charlotte was destined for a miserable life in captivity. But the Borneo Orangutan Rescue Alliance, BORA, in collaboration with the Forestry and Environmentary Ministry of Indonesia, rescued her from the cabin and transferred her into a rehabilitation center run by the member of BORA called the Orangutan Project. Aptly named the Jungle School, the OP's facility provided a vital refuge to poached orangutans. They're really smart, by the way, so it's really fucked up to poach them like that. When they are separated from their habitat and or social group, most wild animals lose out on the most important educational periods. They don't know how to bing orangutans. Wild cats will learn from their mothers how to hunt prey, for example, and orangutans learn from their family how to do any number of things, like build nests, use tools, and behave oneself within the social hierarchy. Orangutans have one of the longest childhoods of any species on Earth, explained the OP in a blog post about Charlotte's arrival in jungle school. Babies are born knowing nothing. They learn everything from their mothers. What to eat, how to avoid predators, how to make nests for safe sleeping. Even how to climb and swing through trees. Their learning is complex and deep because they're very intelligent, and nothing can fully replace the bond between mother and baby. The blog post is a difficult read for those sensitive to stories of cruelty to animals. Charlotte, however, went from a terrified orphan to a joyful, courageous orangutan. That occurred through the dedicated work of the OP's carers of Jungle School, who, despite being very much a member of Homo sapiens, show the orphaned orangutans how to climb trees, forage for termites, build nests, and everything else Charlotte's mom would have shown her. And then there's a picture of two people working with Charlotte when she was rescued, carrying Charlotte on their backs like a mom would. Oh, I'm gonna cry. Oh, so sweet. The moment Charlotte returned to the wild, she's climbing the trees, and they're probably crying. Oh, I'm crying. Anyways, this went on between 2021 and 2025, 4 years of jungle school. When, having grown up and practiced her skills on the forested island free of predators, Charlotte was released into the Busong ecosystem in East Borneo. Team is confident that Charlotte will thrive in her new home and settle into her wild life with ease, writes the OP in another blog post. Her forest skills are excellent and have only grown stronger during her time on the pre-release island. There's even a good chance she may cross paths with some of her old jungle school friends like Mary, Jojo, Bhakti, and Poppy, who all were recently released into the same area. So she's not all by herself out there. They can make their own little jungle school alumni group, little orangutan families, and hopefully live their lives not being chained to a freaking shed. I need to tell a joke. Tell me a joke, hurry, I'm gonna cry.
Sarcasm?
My eyes are tearing up. Oh.
Well, at least they can comfort themselves in the fact that they're related to the President of the United States, you know, this orange hair and his orange face.
They're smarter. They're
By the
way
way,
smarter.
You're doing that thing that everybody does in pronouncing a G at the end of orangutans, which is not pronounced, but hey, it's what everybody does. It's not orangutans, it's orangutan. But I wasn't going to interrupt you because I do it too. Everybody does it. So, orangutan is the actual pronunciation for you linguists out there, and running linguists. That's it.
And whoever in the comments is going, "You're saying it wrong." You've given them justice.
That's right.
See, I wasn't crazy.
On your pronunciation.
All right. Thank you for the sarcasm. Let's roll our segue wheel for you.
When people correct you on the proper thing to say is, "Wow, you're a very cunning linguist."
Ah, dear.
It's a dirty joke. It's a dirty pun.
Our next segue is going to be associate. So I'll associate your story with something. Anything I can think of.
I got 2 stories. Okay, these should be easy to do because they're good news stories, right? Know anybody that's missing a finger or a toe or an arm or I don't know, whatever.
Limb from
This guy's
limb.
missing both of his legs. This guy's missing both of his legs below the knees. A double amputee. Hey, that rhymes. Hey, let me write that down. He's missing both his legs below the knee. There. He is a double amputee. There you go. There's a country song.
There. Thanks for the
song.
song.
All right, there you go. You're welcome. That'll be a hit for Kid Rock by next Tuesday. This is from BBC.com. Double amputee from Canterbury completes 7 highest peaks challenge. Did he crawl? Did he ride a bike? What did he do? No, he walked, believe it or not, without legs. A former Gurkha, which is a ethnic thing, and I imagine having to do with living near the mountains, has become the first double above the knee amputee to climb the highest peak on each of the 7 continents. There are 7 continents, by the way, not 4, not 2. Some people think there's 2, believe it or not. There's a lot of stupid people out there. Anyway, Kari Buddha Magar from Canterbury, Kent, which probably is not his homeland, completed his long-running challenge with a grueling 3-day ascent of Antarctica's 16,000 feet Mount Vinson, the summit of which he reached on Tuesday. Good time to climb Antarctica because it's summer down there. The veteran who lost both legs in 2010 while serving with the British Army in Afghanistan, thanks a lot George W. Bush and Tony Blair for getting into that shit, had spent years training in order to prepare for the record-breaking attempt. A disability shouldn't limit the size of your dream. Anything is possible with enough determination, he said. Following the loss of his legs and improvised IED, his explosive device, Magar said he struggled to recover, both mentally and physically, describing the dark times and loss of self-worth. However, he eventually discovered a new purpose, sparked by his boyhood dream of becoming a mountaineer. His 7th peak challenge began with the 15,780-foot ascent of Mont Blanc in the Alps, followed by Kilimanjaro, that's in Tanzania, Everest, which is in the Himalayas, in 23. He did Tanzania. He did Kilimanjaro in 2020, the Alps in 2019, the Himalayas, Mount Everest, which is his peak in the world, May 2020. Magar also scaled North America's Denali in June of 24. Aconcagua in South America. I was going to assume it was like Machu Picchu or something up there. It might be up that way, right? In the Andes of South America. And on February 2025, Puncak Jaha in Oceania, which is the continent that where New Zealand and Australia are. You know that if you live there, right? Ocean. It's not a planet, continent. That IED in Afghanistan should have killed me, but instead I was given a second chance to do something positive, he said. I found amazing people who believed in me and helped design new prosthetics to allow me to physically take the challenge. I had the opportunity today to bring back my legs. As a result, he says this with all straight face, if I had the opportunity today to bring back my legs, I would actually decline. That would be painful, wouldn't it? Reattach some new legs. How about if it was painless and they reattach your legs? I don't know if you'd decline that. I bet you don't decline when it's time to get out of bed in the morning. I'm just saying. Climbing mountains is all well and good, but I think I'd want my legs back. I'm glad he's happy, but I think I'd want my legs back. Because my mission now is to help inspire and empower others. Sure, you found a purpose in life. But you did have a purpose when you still had legs. You really did, believe it or not. There is a lot of work that needs to be done around disability, so I'm dedicating the rest of my life to raising awareness. Maybe raising awareness about landmines. That would probably be more of a thing, right? Magar, who has been awarded an MBE, a member of the British Empire, which is very prestigious, is also a Pride of Britain Award winner. Will donate the money raised for his 7 Peaks Challenge, the current total of which stands at more than only £30,000 to the veterans charities on the Gorkha Warfare Trust, Lesma Team Forces Course Foundation, and Pilgrim Bandits. That's 4 different charities, but yeah, that seems like it's not a lot of money. Give some more money to those charities, to this guy, so he can do good things for people without legs. So there's your quick story. That's some good news. Banter.
Some good news banter. Yeah, I mean, you're completely banter. Right. I mean, I'm like, even the eye story we just did, right? If I can associate with that was all due to charity. Mm-hmm. They were able to test it because people donate to the eye charity of the UK, and that's why people were able to afford to fund a study to see, hey, can we actually use this to cure a problem that we have? So,
right. It's what the guy said. I know that we say eye legs and whatnot, not one his old leg back, because he found out what kind of person he was. But that's a hell of a way to find out, don't you think?
Yeah.
Maybe just go through a tough game of chess or something. Anyway, let's do another story.
All right, next story.
There's better ways to find out. I'm really made of. You were made of that all along, and you really the fact that you're on the British military. There you go. You had it all along, buddy. This is from Patch.com. California drought is over. Yeah. For basically your entire life. For 25 years anyway. California's declared drought-free for the first time thanks to holiday storms from Cat Schuster. Probably short for Catherine, right? Although recent storms spurred flood, travel chaos, and even deaths in California, the constant downpour pulled the officials announced as of December 30th, 2025, the entirety of the Golden State has exited drought status for the first time in some 25 years. We're still adding up the years. It's up there. It's a lot of years. According to the California Drought Monitor, the last time that happened was December 2000. According to the monitor, California also experienced periods with less than 1% of abnormal dryness in 2005 and 2011, but it wasn't enough to put out a drought, of course. As of January 8th, the monitor showed no dryness remaining. Following series of winter storms, the state reservoirs have been repeatedly restored. The last time the Golden State was declared drought-free was in 2023 after a parade of storms and atmospheric rivers drenched California. Well, that was 2 years ago. Why you say for 25 years? Well, I'm so confused by this article already. You just said it was declared 2 years ago. Stop contradicting yourself. But it isn't just the winter season that saved the state from drought. It is the culmination of several years of consistent rainfall. According to the Drought Monitor, California has recently received 200% of its normal precipitation for this time of the year. It has been an interesting season, said Mike Wofford, a meteorologist in the National Weather Service in Oxnard, told the Los Angeles Times last week. Way above normal for precipitation. January 4th, Southern California has already received 14 inches of rain. As of October, let's do this again. Another sentence doesn't make any sense. As of January 4th, Southern California has already received 14 inches as of October 1st. What is it? Is it as of January 4th or as of reverse? Even though the period from October to mid-November is bone dry. Okay. That sentence should probably be written. Southern California has received 14 inches of rain since October 1st, not as of October 1st. All right, that makes no sense. Learn how to write sentences, folks. From that period from October to January 4th, they got 14 inches of rain, even though from October to was completely dry. They had no rain at all, but the rest of that time period, it rained like torrential downpours. There's a potential that we already meet our average rainfall for the entire 12-month period later today if we end up getting half an inch of more rain. Says Robbie Monroe, National Weather Service forecaster. North California was soaked and some communities submerged by a series of storms. Several inches of rain across coastal and inland areas, pushing some locations to record near-record rainfall totals for the start of January, according to weather data. There's your California good drought news. Heavy rains and floods, but at least the drought's over. Hey. Get that.
No, that is good news because, of course, if everyone remembers from last year, here's my association.
Yeah.
What happened? A huge fire in Pasadena for months in the middle of winter.
Not Pasadena.
Because it
Not
was
Pasadena,
so bone dry.
Wasn't Pasadena.
I thought it was.
It was Los Angeles. It was Palisades.
Started in Pasadena. Wasn't it called the Pasadena Fires?
Palisades.
Oh, the Palisades. Sorry.
Fire. Palisades. Yeah, Pasadena is way out in the valley.
Yeah.
Pasadena is in the San
Point is, right, that
Valley.
happened because there was a drought all winter, and then there was dry bush, because let's be honest, it doesn't get that cold. And you can start a fire at any time. You can start a fire in the middle of winter if there's fuel.
Yeah.
Right? So.
Those fires started amongst a lot of multi-million-dollar homes in Palisades. You had to be rich to live there. Yeah, but yeah, it was a spark last year that started it. It's all it really needed at that time. But again, this does not prevent future forest fires, because what's going to happen is now that the rainfall's there, you're going to have more growth, and when that growth dries out, you're going to have more tinder, and that's how that cycle repeats itself. Heavy rains and then dry season, winds, fires. Yeah, that'll keep going. That's not going to stop happening in Southern California. Because right now, it's really wet. It's really wet. Yeah. Now, global warming didn't stop because of this, by the way. It's just one local thing. It's very local. California, a very narrow sliver of land on the coast, susceptible to everything. All right, so
100%.
that's my thing there. California gets everything. They get floods, they get fires, they get earthquakes, they get them all on a regular basis. Almost
And they have
like.
good, and they have a good GDP. Right, next. Let's roll our segue.
And no shit, right? I love living in California. I thought it was great. I mean, the weather is perfect. San Diego's perfect weather, man. It's just cloudy in the morning.
We've got a non
and sunny
sequitur.
all day. Okay.
My next good story, is coming out of, I guess, America. This is about the Trevor Project by Thalia Beatty on AP News. The Trevor Project, known for its hotline for LGBTQ youth, receives $45 million from billionaire and author Mackenzie Scott at the end of 25, the organization said yesterday on the 12th of January. The gift is the largest in the organization's history, but also a major boon following years of management turmoil, layoffs, and loss of significant federal funding over the summer. I literally could not believe it, and it took some time. I actually gasped, said James Black, CEO of the Trevor Project, when they were notified of Scott's gift. Scott, whose fortune largely comes from her ex-husband, Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, collect that money, girl, gave more than $7 billion to nonprofits in 2025, but this gift to the Trevor Project was not included among the donations she disclosed on her website in December. Scott previously gave the Trevor Project $6 million in 2020, so she's a repeat funder. In July, the Trump administration, the clown-in-chief, stopped providing specific support for gay, trans, and gender non-conforming young people. They can just go kill themselves, is what he said. And who called the 988 National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. We're not going to help you. If you want to kill yourself because you're trans, just do it already. That's what he was saying. The Trevor Project was one of the organizations staffing the option and lost $25 million in funding, the nonprofit said. The Trevor Project continues to run on independent hotline for LGBTQ+, so please call them instead of the suicide prevention hotline, because it looks like they're not going to help you. And he says that young people reach out, 250,000 young people reach out annually to the Trevor Project, but they serve another 250,000 callers through the 988 Press 3 option, which was tailored for LGBTQ+ young people to begin with. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services reported that more than 1.5 million contacts were routed through the 988 service between September 22 and July 25. Since the program's end, so you can't even call it anymore, they've completely shut it down, the Trevor Project's hotline has become even more central to mental health support for queer and young people, said Scott Bertani, Director of Advocacy and National Coalition for LGBTQ Health. Their services fill a gap that generic crisis lines simply aren't designed to meet, particularly for young people facing identity-based stress, isolation, or rejection, Bertani said in a statement. The Trevor Project has faced internal turmoil after its budget grew from around $4 million in 2016 to over $83 million. What happened? Why is it so big in 2023, according to its public tax returns? The nonprofit's board removed its CEO in 22 and has gone through a series of layoffs, including in July. Black said the project's 26 budget was $47 million. Well, at least they've cut it down half. We are a smaller organization than we were before, Black said, and we will continue to be really intentional and really mindful around growth and what growth really means for the organization. After it lost the 988 funding, the Trevor Project launched an emergency fundraiser that brought in $20 million to date, Black said, which they also hoped Scott saw as proof they would make it through this period. Mackenzie Scott's folks were clear. Oh, suddenly I gotta add and then it reset my... Mackenzie Scott's folk were clear. Like this gift was made for a long-term impact, Black said, adding that they would take their time deciding how to use the funds. Thad Calabrese, professor of New York University, who researches nonprofit financial management, said, "It's not uncommon for nonprofits that grow very quickly to run into financial problems." But he also said that the cuts and general instability in especially federal funding for nonprofits has upended many organizations' business models. Yeah, they thought they were guaranteed, $25 million every year? And then suddenly somebody says, "Hey, we're not going to fund you anymore for no reason." And they're like, "Oh, well, there goes all that money we're going to spend on some cool projects to save people's lives." Academic research has often viewed public funding as very stable, as a signal to donors that you've arrived at an organization level. But that reality is you are now open to changing political fortunes, he said. He said research is also unclear whether diversifying an organization's revenue stream is always a better financial strategy. You're less dependent upon a few funders. But on the other hand, if you have a lot of different revenue streams, do you have the management capacity for that? Calabrese asked, speaking generally and not commenting specifically on the Trevor Project. Scott has distinguished herself among the biggest individual donors by giving large, unrestricted gifts to nonprofits, often with a focus on equity or social justice. With the exception of an open call in 23, she does not ask for project proposals nor accept applications. Despite the size of her gifts, which now often exceed the recipient's organization's annual budget, research from the Center for Effective Philanthropy have found that concerns about nonprofits misusing Scott's funds are growing unsustainably and have largely not been borne out. So, even though she gives a lot of money, nobody is misusing that money. Alicia Smith, Arriaga, Vice President of Research for Center of Effective Philanthropy, said that that's likely because of the vigorous vetting that Scott's team does, the members of which are largely unknown, does before making gifts. So you watch out who you're talking to, because it might be somebody working for Mackenzie Scott and she's about to donate a bunch of money. She also said that just like an investor might double down on a for-profit startup that's struggling, some funders may still believe in an organization's potential despite setbacks. People make all different kinds of investments because they really believe in the outcomes that organizations can make. That their gifts can help to accelerate that, Smith Arriaga said. In an essay announcing her 2025 gift, Scott said, "The potential of peaceful, non-transactional contribution has long been underestimated. Often the basis that it is not financially self-sustaining or that some of its benefits are hard to track. But what if these imagined liabilities are actually assets? What if the fact that some of our organizations are vulnerable can itself be a powerful engine for our generosity?" Black calls Scott's second gift a powerful validation of the Trevor Project's mission and impact, saying, "We're calling this our turnaround story." So, good news for people out there who are suffering with identity crises and similar things. The Trevor Project lives for another year, or maybe even longer, however they end up using these funds.
Okay, So my non sequitur, right? Yeah, that
Yep.
works out good. I was looking up Mackenzie Scott, and did you know, a lot of people would say, which I would assume, oh, she married Jeff Bezos for his money. Nope. Jeff Bezos was an absolute nobody when they got married in 1993, and her family was the one that had the money, as Jeff Bezos is actually one of those guys that made it himself. I mean, his parents had a little money, but they weren't super rich. So, he did marry money. Don't forget that. He did marry money, so that helps too. So, there you go. That's my non sequitur. Jeff Bezos married money. He didn't have it when he was born. Although it says his great-grandfather owned a ranch. I don't consider owning a ranch to be your money until you sell it. Or unless that ranch is, turning out major, cocaine crops or something. Anyway, there's your little non sequitur.
Thank you.
Spin the wheel.
Nope, I have one more story. This one's shorter. This
is
going to be about...
I thought you had two. Oh, okay.
A teacher in Texas gets a sweet bridal shower from her preschool class. This is from Angel Saunders on People. A preschool teacher in Texas has had a sweet surprise when her fiance and her preschool class teamed up to throw her the perfect mini bridal shower. Zoe Kampf and her fiance, Sean Folleder, got engaged 23rd of December 2024, ahead of their January 2026 wedding. Folleder, who is a high school geometry teacher and football coach, enlisted his fiance's preschool class to help celebrate the special occasion. We love two teachers getting married. Isn't it always two teachers? It's never, I'm a teacher and my husband's something else. No, they're usually teachers. When I walked in, I was really surprised, Kampf said, who works at Schenker School, told the Jewish Herald Voice on Thursday, January 1st interview of the December 12th mini bridal shower. Ugh, that's a lot of... The bridal shower happened on December 12th. They interviewed her on January 1st. I don't know why they had to give us those informations, but she added, they had cookies and decorated the classroom. They gave me a sash and a veil and a crown. It was really cute. She's from Texas, so I'm going to do that accent now. All the kids in the classroom got dressed up for the special occasion, wearing floral tiaras and bow ties. It was a great surprise her at school, Folleder said. She's just a great teacher and everyone, from her kids to her kids' parents, the staff loves her. Folleder and Kampf just got engaged at the end of 24, but the soon-to-be husband and wife have known each other for decades. Both attended Schenker School. Kampf's grandfather, former Rabbi Samuel Carr, founded Schenker School in 1967. We definitely have a lot in common, but both being raised at Beth Israel and Schenker, she said. It's nice to be in touch with our Jewish heritage and have that in common. Folleder's grandmother, Barbie Friedman, also has ties to the school, as she's the longest tenured teacher at it, currently at her 41st year teaching. She was present at the mini bridal shower and just may have had a significant role in the couple's love story. I've been here a while, and I taught Zoe when she was a toddler, Friedman told the JHV. Years later, Folleder and Kampf's paths reconnected while helping children in the summer of 21. It was the summer camp director, and Sean was volunteering and helping me, Freeman said during the interview. Zoe was on one side of the building, and he was on the other side with me. I would send him over on errands when Zoe would need anything, and then they just started hanging out together. I remember Bobby said, "You guys should really date." We were like, "Okay," Kampf recalled. I guess we took her advice. After the summer camp ended, Folleder asked her out for sushi. Texas sushi, my favorite date night. They are a wonderful couple and really devoted to one another, the grandmother said. It has been really fun to watch them grow up and grow together. Folleder and Kampf are set to wed in Houston, but Friedman can't say for sure whether or not she will be teaching if and when the next generation of her family attends. Technically, I don't know how it is in Texas, but in most places they don't let you work at the same school as your husband, just in case, right? Just in case something bad happens. So that's why I think he works at the high school and she works at the primary school, so that they don't, just in case family drama happens, it doesn't affect the children.
You mean the weekly Texas school shootings, those things? Yeah.
No, not that. I mean, like they get divorced or they cheat on each other or something. I don't know about that. I'm going to be 82 soon. said Friedman. She said while smiling, "I'll try and see how things go. Schlenker is such a wonderful school, and that would be such an amazing thing." But there's your shorter good news story about, just a slice of happiness happening in Texas somewhere.
That's cool. I don't know how you retire from being a school teacher. I mean, you just have to. I mean, they just basically just
stop
make
going,
your job easier after a while. No, just keep going to work until they make you leave. I would. These kids need me, and they just turn you into the person that does less and less every year because, oh my God, she's 80. That's my non sequitur. Totally nothing to do with the story.
That's the whole point of it.
Although. Right. All right. So let's do it and talk about the big good news in the United States. Because the United States really needs some good news. And I did send you a video related to this story, so you can play the whole thing, I imagine.
Okay. Let's roll a segue.
All right. So.
Segway wheel, show me what to do for this segue. It is alliteration headline.
Right, Buddhist monks, and this
Buddhist
may be
monks.
news.
All right, that's
Deepa Bahara. Buddhist monks walk for peace and captivate Americans. This has been in the news for a little while, and we're going to finally report on it. A group of Buddhist monks and their rescue dog are striding single file down country roads and highways across the South, captivating Americans nationwide and inspiring droves of locals to greet them along the road. It's like the Forrest Gump phenomenon, right? People are even following them. In the flowing prawn and Oshur robes, the men are walking for peace. It is a meditative tradition, more common in South Asian countries, and is resonating now in the U.S. seemingly as a welcome respite from the conflict, drama, and politics dividing the nation. They're again, the news media keeps telling us we're divided. That's why we stay divided. Stop telling us we're divided. Stop pushing the narrative, and the narrative will stop happening. That's the way it works, news media. Stop pushing the narrative. The journey began October 26, 2025 at a Vietnamese Buddhist temple in Texas, and is scheduled to end in mid-February in Washington, D.C., where they will ask Congress to recognize Buddha's day of birth and enlightenment as a federal holiday. Beyond promoting peace, their highest priority is connecting with people along the way. Of course, Congress will be in recess at the time because they actually never work. So, I think worked 80 days last year. They actually did stuff 80 whole days the entire year. Good luck. Hopefully you're in session. Somebody will be there, I'm sure. The janitor, maybe. My hope is when this walk ends, the people will continue practicing mindfulness and find peace, said the Venerable Bhikkhu Pana. I'm going to have to say this guy's name more than once. The Venerable Bhikkhu Panakara, the group's soft-spoken leader, was making the trek barefoot. He teaches about mindfulness, forgiveness, and healing at every stop. Preferring to sleep each night in tents pitched outdoors, the monks have been surprised to see their message transcend ideologies, drawing huge crowds into churchyards, city halls, and town squares across 6 states. Yeah, you're not going to find a lot of Buddhists in the South, so I just guarantee you these are all just like... People are thinking, wow, that's a really cool religion. Perhaps. Documenting their journey on social media, they and their dog, Aloka, have racked up millions of followers online. On Saturday, thousands thronged to Columbia, South Carolina, where the monks chanted on the steps of the State House and received a proclamation from the city's mayor, Daniel Rickenmann. At their stop Thursday in South Carolina, Andre Pierce joined the crowd lining Main Street. She had driven 4 hours from her village in Little River and teared up as the Panakara handed her a flower. There's something dramatic and heartwarming happening in our country every day. Pierce, who describes herself as spiritual but not religious. And I think a lot of people have adopted that stance over the 25, 30 years. So, religion, church is all well and nice, but all they do is want your money. That's all they want. It doesn't get me any closer to God. It just makes me poorer. I looked into their eyes and I saw peace. They're putting their bodies through such physical torture, and yet they radiate peace. Hailing from Buddhist monasteries across the globe, the 19 monks began their 2,300-mile journey at the Huangdao Vipassana Bhavana Center in Fort Worth, the HDVBC. The journey has not been without peril. This is terrible news, but it is good news story. On November 19th, the monks were walking along Highway 90. Of course, it was Texas, in Dayton, Texas, and their escort vehicle was hit by a distracted truck driver, injuring 2 monks. One of them lost his leg, reducing the group to 18. So some jackass in Texas, oh, I gotta go fast. Oh, what's that on the road? Let me run into it. Some dumb shit. Anyway, back to the story. This is Panakara's first trek in the U.S., but he's walked across several South Asian countries, including a 112-day journey across India in 22, where he first encountered Aloka, an Indian pariah dog. Pariah dog? It's a hell of a name for a dog. I like that dog, but he's a pariah. Huh? An Indian pariah dog, whose name means divine light in Sanskrit. Then astray, the dog followed him and other monks from Kolkata in eastern India all the way to Nepal border. At one point, he fell critically ill, and Panakara scooped him up in his arms and cared for him until he recovered. Now, Aloka inspires him to keep going when he feels like giving up. I named him Light because I want him to find the light of wisdom, Panakara said.
Aww.
The monk's feet are now heavily bandaged because he stepped on rocks, nails, and glass along the way. His practice of mindfulness keeps him joyful despite the pain from these injuries, he said. Still, traversing the southeastern United States has presented unique challenges, and pounding pavement every day has been brutal. You know, they invented a thing called sandals, right? I
feel like they usually do wear them, but maybe it's metaphorical.
No, he's the leader. He's the leader. I think a lot of the rest of them are wearing sandals. He's just Mr. He's Mr. Alpha Male, right? I'm the man, or he thinks he is, right? He's the leader, right? The leader's got to set the example. Even if he has to lose, portions of his feet. I don't know. In India, we can do shortcuts through paddy fields and farms, but we can't do that here because there are a lot of private properties. Yes, doing it all on asphalt. That's terrible for your feet. But what's made it beautiful is how people have welcomed and hosted us in spite of not knowing who we are and what we believe. I think you believe in peace. I think that's obvious. In Opelika, Alabama, otherwise known as Alabama, the Reverend Patrick Hitchman Craig hosted the monks on Christmas night at his United Methodist congregation. He expected to see a small crowd, but about 1,000 people showed up, creating a feel of a block party. The monks seemed like the Magi, he said, appearing on Christ's birthday, which December 25th is not Christ's birthday.
Yeah.
Anyway, who was working for peace in the world in a way that is public and sacrificial, standing close to the heart of Jesus. Let's drag Jesus into this. Whether or not we share our traditions, says Hitchman Craig, I was blown away by the number of people and the diversity of who showed up. That's right. They're not doing a lot of talking, are they? Right? They're not like going, hey, you got to believe in this religion or you're going to hell. They're not doing any of that. They're just walking. And if you want to join, you can join. If you don't want to, you don't have to.
I did see somebody doing that, though, and it's just like, dude, read the room.
Right. It's like, oh, you got to take Jesus. Now, there's been a bunch of assholes out there. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
There are definitely a bunch of assholes out there. After the night on the church lawn, the monks arrived the next afternoon in Collins Farm in Cosetta, Alabama. Judy Collins Allen, I thought it was going to be Judy Collins singer, but no. Judy Collins Allen, whose father and brother run the farm, said about 200 people came to meet the monks, the biggest gathering she's ever witnessed there. There was a calm, warm, and sense of community among the people who had not met each other before, and that is so special. Monks say peace walks are not a conversion tool. Long Si-dong, a spokesman for the Fort Worth Temple, said that the monks, when they arrived in Washington, planned to seek recognition of Vesak, the day, which marks the birth and enlightenment of Buddha, as a national holiday. Doings would acknowledge Vesak as a day of reflection, compassion, and unity for all people, regardless of faith. But Panakara emphasized that their main goal is to help people achieve peace in their lives. The trek is also a separate endeavor from the $200 million campaign to build towering monuments on the temple's 14-acre property house to Buddhist teachings engraved in stone, according to Dong. The monks practice and teach Vipassana meditation, an ancient Indian technique taught by the Buddha himself, as a core for attaining enlightenment. It focuses on the mind-body connection, observing breath and physical sensation, understand reality, permanence of suffering. Some of the monks, including Panakara, walk barefoot to feel the ground directly and be present in the moment. Yeah, nothing makes you more present in the moment than a hot foot, right? Ever get a hot foot? Oh boy, you are present in the moment. Hell yeah, I'm here. My feet are killing me. So
I feel like at some point, though, your brain just kind of stops feeling pain.
Yeah. His dogs are a barking, as John Candy said on trains, planes, and automobile. These dogs are a barking. All right, let's do the metaphor. I think we already. Oh no,
it wasn't a metaphor, but good try.
Alliteration.
Buddhist bodies bask balanced breaths, bridging boundaries beautifully.
Yeah, in Bama. Don't forget Bama. Oh, I got this.
No, sorry. In Bama. There you go. Okay.
All right, that was it,
That
man.
good.
Only one.
Is that your only story?
Only one. Yeah,
okay.
That was really stupid.
Let's roll our next segue.
Be glad I don't have another story. What do I got to come up with? I guess I'll come up with another line.
Let's roll again, because you already did sarcasm earlier. Reroll! Oh dear. It's gonna be bad pun! I almost landed on non sequitur again. I was gonna have to reroll a third time. This is my culture news. It's good news, but in like a bittersweet way, because I know a lot of people find death sad. I don't find death very sad. I find it to be one of the most guaranteed things that can happen to you in your life. And we're here to celebrate.
Premature death is sad.
Yeah, that's true. But
right?
Dying from cancer is pretty sad. But that's not the point. The point isn't to remark on death and how sad it is, but how somebody who was only here for such a short time was able to touch so many people all over the world. This is my and you know it's bad pun, right? Yeah, it's bad pun. This is my story about David Bowie's 10th death anniversary and how 5 European sites honored him all over the region. This is from David Morquand on Euronews Culture. 10 years ago, the world lost David Bowie. Here are Euronews Culture's picks of the 5 European pilgrimage sites to pay tribute to the much-missed artist. Time. He's waiting in the wings. He speaks of senseless things. Time. Aladdin Sane, 1973. Time also passes. Fast. 10 years ago, on the 10th of January, 2016, 2 days after his birthday and the release of his final album, Black Star, the world lost David Bowie. I was living in Berlin when the news broke. This is from David. I made my way to Hofstrabe 155 in Schoenberg, an inconspicuous building where Bowie lived during his time in German capital. Their candles were already lit. Pictures propped up against the door, and flowers filled the pavement outside the flat he shared with Iggy Pop for 2 years. Only there for 2 years, but people are like, David Bowie lived here. Fans besides me were crying, standing in silence, unable to fathom a world without the boundless creative artist. I put down my candle, this is David again, and was greeted by a perfect stranger who had her earbuds in. She took one out and gave it to him. We both looked at the doorway, listening to Starman. This ended up leading to an impromptu rendition of the song, with some mourners joining in. It's a memory that David cherishes, a moment of connection that showed to what extent Bowie touched so many lives. It's hard to wrap his head around the fact that the vivid moment took place a decade ago. Little did David know, or anyone at the time, that Bowie's death would be a harbinger of doom, as it's hard to dismiss the theory that the Starman may have been the glue holding the fabric of this universe together. That's a bit crazy, but okay, I see where you're coming from. Think about it. Okay, we're thinking about it, David. That's when the world went to shit. Following the 10th of January 2016, convicted felon Trump was sworn in for his first term 10 days after his death. He was already elected, though. Like, it would make more sense if he died right before the election and that caused Trump to get elected, right? Anyways, sure. The UK voted to leave the EU in 2016. Prince Alan Rickman, Carrie Fisher, Leonard Cohen, George Michael all follow suit by the end of 2016. It was a dark year. I think everyone agrees 2016 was a shit year. But David digresses. If, like him, you're seeking a place to head, well, I guess it's already happened, but if you want to go there post after the anniversary, these are the pilgrimages sites you can visit. The best place to go to honor Bowie, where it all began, 40th Stansfield Road, SW9 in Brixton. This is where David Robert Jones was born on the 8th of January 1947. He lived in this house until he was 6 before moving to suburban Bromley. His first school, Stockwell Primary School, is just around the corner. There's also a mural of Bowie on Brixton Road that is piled high with flowers. You can also head to the mural of Bowie on Brixton Road opposite Brixton Tube Station, created by the Australian artist Jimmy C. Corcoran in 2013. The colorful and vibrant painting became a shrine to the musician when he died. Thousands flocked there, leaving flowers and tributes, and Lambeth Council said the mural was to be listed to ensure its long-term protection. Elsewhere, there's Hedden Street, also known as Ziggy Stardust Street, featured on the album cover of The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. You'll find a plaque on the wall of 23 Hayden Street. And if you feel like raising a glass to Bowie, make your way to the Ship Bar on Wardour Street in Soho, where he used to give interviews. There's also Berlin. Berliner Gedenktafel in diesem Haus wohnte von 1976 bis 1978 David Bowie. In dieser Zeit entstanden die Alben Low, Heroes and Lodger. Sie gingen al Berliner Trilogie in die Musik geschickt ein. We can be heroes, just for one day. The plaque says, outside the street in Hauptstraße 155. I'm so bad at German. I apologize, everyone. I almost said most of that in Dutch. Wishing to overcome his cocaine addiction and leave the U.S., Bowie moved to Berlin in 1976 and lived there until 1979. It says here 76 to 78. That must be a typo, David. The divided city would become the backdrop for his reinvention, and you can't understate to what extent that German capital was an artistic influence and crucial part of his life. He wrote 3 albums there, Low, Heroes, and Lodger, which I said in German badly, known as the Berlin Trilogy. There are several options for those wishing to retrace Bowie's steps in Berlin. The legendary Hansa Studios, where he recorded Heroes. It's worth noting that Heroes was the only installment in the Berlin Trilogy actually recorded completely in the city, as Low was recorded mostly in France, while Lodger was recorded in Switzerland. One of those places speak German. Legendary punk club SO36 on Oranjestrasse in Kreuzberg, a favorite haunt of his. But as mentioned in the intro, you do well to head to Hauptstraße 155 in Schönberg, Berlin's famous gay neighborhood where he lived with Iggy Pop from 1976 to 1978. There is a commemorative plaque on the unassuming facade since August 2016, and just next door is Café Neus Ufer, Hauptstraße 157, then known as Anderes Ufer, one of the city's oldest gay bars, which he and Iggy frequented. Several Bowie pictures still hang on the wall. In 1980, Bowie and his wife Angie divorced, but he kept their house in Blanay, near Montreux. It was his main residence until 1982, living there with his son Zoe, now Duncan, who attended the International School of Lucerne. The Swiss connection doesn't end there, as he moved to the Grand Chateau de Signal on the edge of the forest in Sauveur-Belin in the hills of Lucerne in 1982. He also married his second wife, Iman, in the City Hall in Lucerne in 1992. She wasn't a huge fan of the quiet life in Lucerne, however, and they both ended up heading back to the US in 1998. In Paris, France, 2 years ago, Rue David Bowie was inaugurated in the 13th arrondissement of Paris, located a stone throw away from the Gare d'Austerlitz. The street has the distinction of being the first to be named after the musician. David Bowie loved France and especially Paris, he said often, said Jérôme Coumet, mayor of the 13th arrondissement. at the street sign was unveiled in 2024. Indeed, while Paris played less of a prominent role in Bowie's life compared to Berlin, French avant-garde theatrical culture was indeed his thing on his visual style. So you can go visit his road. Ormen, Norway. In the Villa of Ormen stands a solitary candle. Thus began the song Black Star on Bowie's final album of the same name, a song which became imbued with the prophetic weight of the artist looking back over a lifetime and saying goodbye. The song was accompanied by a creepy music video, an apocalyptic triumph open to a multitude of interpretations, a goodbye to Major Tom with the dead astronaut, an enigmatic farewell from Bowie dressed as his final character, the tormented and blind in eyes, a musical incantation around the black star, which represents the contemplation of one's morality, but its cryptic opening lyric that had fans around the world wondering where this villa was and what it represents. It turns out that Ormen is the name of a village in the municipality of Fredrikstad in Norway, and that word means serpent in Norwegian. Some chose to believe that the Villa of Ormen is not a physical location that Bowie is using, as a representation of a negative space, the serpent representing encroaching darkness, and that the solitary candle is simply the light fighting to flicker amidst the chaos. However, Norwegian fans could do worse than to head to Ormen and find out whether there is an incantory location where time and space collapse, leading to a higher plane of existence. And so please let us know, and don't forget to chant the lyrics to Black Star should the obscure heavenly body reveal itself. That's where he went. He went to Ormen. Something happened on that day he died. Spirit rose, Amita, and stepped aside. Somebody else took his place and braved the cried, I am Black Star. I am Black Star. So there is your bittersweet, but, celebratory places you can go visit to celebrate a guy who affected the world in unmeasurable ways that we'll probably ever fathom. You're muted still. Are you there?
Okay, so you wanted a pun. So maybe some of these sites will become as famous as Graceland, as popular as Graceland. Elvis is someday. And then it's going to be Major Tom to crowd control. Right, there's my pun. I waited.
Goodness gracious.
All right, let's do this day in history. National Day in History.
Let's segue that segue wheel. Give me a segue, baby.
This right pen, right.
What did we get? A hypothetical. I'll think of a hypothetical for what's going on in this day in history.
All right. 1808, Salmon P. Chase, Secretary of the Treasury during the Civil War, was born in New Hampshire. And he was in Abraham Lincoln's wartime cabinet and 6th Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court. So Salmon P. Chase, who was actually on money, not legal tender for distribution, but he was on the $100,000 bill. If you have a $100,000 bill, you got something, right? They don't make those anymore. 1832, Horatio Alger, one of the most popular American authors in the last 30 years, was born in Chelsea, Massachusetts. So happy birthday to Horatio Alger. In 1898, novelist and critic Émile Zola published an open letter titled J'accuse, denouncing the French General Staff for its role in the 1894 treason court-martial of Alfred Dreyfus, a Jewish officer in the French army whose conviction was fueled by anti-Semitic sentiment. Again, he was a scapegoat. Free trials are rare. Fair trials are rare. 1942, American industrialist Henry Ford patented plastic automobile construction. Yeah, blame Henry Ford for plastic in your car. He's the one that started it. 1968, Johnny Cash recorded the album Johnny Cash at Folsom Prison in front of an audience of some 2,000 inmates. Its success helped Cash to reestablish himself one of country music's most relevant artists, and he followed it up with Johnny Cash's San Quentin in 1969. Johnny Cash playing for inmates who thought he was actually incarcerated at one time, and he actually never was. He was once arrested for having some pills, and that was about it. He spent the night in jail. But Johnny Cash was never in prison. Although he did play at San Quentin in 1960s sometime, might not have been in his 69 concert. One of the people in the audience was Merle Haggard. And Merle Haggard was inspired by Johnny Cash to a long country music career after he got out of prison. 1990, Douglas Wilder was sworn in as governor of Virginia, the first African-American governor in the history of the United States in this day. What is that now? 36 years ago. 1997, President Adala Bakaram Ortiz of Ecuador visited President Alberto Fujimori of Peru, making the first official visit to Peru by an Ecuadorian president in 150 years. What the hell's going on there? Shit. Damn. I mean, come on. You get along with everybody. 2012, the Costa Concordia, a cruise ship carrying some 4,200 people, ran aground and capsized. Oh, you remember this one. Capsized and ran aground and capsized off Giglio Island, Italy. 32 people died, and the ship's captain was convicted and jailed for his role in the disaster. And that ship stayed on that sandbar for, I don't know, long time. It took a long time to get that thing moved. I think they had to disassemble it. I have to look that up. But that was a terrible tragedy. You go for a cruise, it's basically a run-of-the-mill thing, and the ship's captain ain't paying attention. 2021, Stinky the Clown was impeached, and he was acquitted by the Senate later because he tried to overthrow the government. So he tried to overthrow the government on January 6th. He was already impeached by January... What's the date? The 13th. A week freaking later, he was already being impeached by the approved articles of impeachment of the stupid Senate, which could have banned them from ever holding public office again. That's all they had to do is vote yes. We're done with Trump. Let's move on. You Republicans got nobody else on the bench. You got nobody else on the bench. Huh, Republicans? Nobody else. You got nobody. You got to have Trump. Pathetic. So the Republicans let us down again and prove that they're the party who works against American self-interest, and they always have been, by the way. They only work in the self-interest of rich people, and most Americans are not rich. Believe it or not, although some people aspire to be rich, those people are fooling themselves. About 99.99% of them are fooling themselves. 1404 is our featured events, and this is a weird thing to ban. Henry IV of England outlawed alchemy on this day in 1404 by preventing the creation of gold from base metals. The goal of alchemy. Henry was trying to prevent challenges to his reign. His law was eventually repealed in 1688 because alchemy doesn't work. Actually, it does work. I will say it does work. You can turn one element into another element. You can turn mercury into gold, for instance. You can turn mercury into gold. The problem with that is mercury is more rare than gold, therefore more expensive. It is also poison. So if you want to die, turning something that's really expensive into something that's really expensive, they're both, and it's really expensive, the process is really expensive. So alchemy is actually a thing. It just is counterproductive. It doesn't accomplish anything. You probably die doing it. Yeah, let's go harvest some mercury and turn it into gold. Why don't you sell the mercury? Yeah, that'd be the plan. Lilia Cabot Perry is an American artist, born January 13th, 1848. It's her birthday. She died February 28th, 1933, at the age of 85. She was born in Boston, died in Hancock, New Hampshire. Other birthdays today: Sophie Tucker, last of the Red Hot Mamas. That's what they called her, American singer. My mother supposedly was named after Sophie Tucker. That was her birth name, Sophie. And she changed it later. I won't tell you what because it's none of your business. 1902, there's the guys with a really long name I tried to pronounce earlier. Let's try it again. Georgy Maximilianovich Malenkov, the Prime Minister of the Soviet Union at some point. He was born this day in 1902. Rakesh Sharma, Indian military pilot and cosmonaut, born in 1949. And Stephen Hendry, Scottish snooker player, born in 1960. Happy birthday to Scottish snooker player Stephen Hendry. I don't know how big snooker is in Scotland. I have no idea. It's basically pool without holes in the pockets. Just snookering the guy or whatever it is. You're hitting the ball to a certain spot. I've never played snooker. I need to watch a tournament and see what the hell. It's like cricket to me. It's like, what's going on? What's happening? Just score that. Are they ahead? Who's winning? Our national days today. It's National Sticker Day, and I got stickers like I've got them all on my guitar. I can show you those. It's Stephen Foster's Memorial Day. If you know the Old Kentucky Home, Camptown Ladies, all them great American classics.
All those
National Peach Melba Day. Well, they're classics. National Peach Melba Day. And Korean American Day. National Shop for Travel Day. It's all those things. Shop for travel. If you're a Korean American, you probably go to Korea a lot. I don't know. And you might have to shop for travel. And you probably got to put a sticker. You should put a sticker on your luggage. Put something on there to identify, right? And you'll probably be listening to some songs on the plane. Perhaps one of them written by Stephen Foster. And maybe they serve you some peach melba. So all those things for today. All 5 of those things wrapped together.
You're stealing my hypothetical, man.
Okay, let's do a hypothetical for January 13th, 2026 on Before Peach Melba. Still don't know what Melba means. But, yeah.
Beach Melba.
Beach, yeah. Eat it at the beach. Get sand in your ice cream. Yeah, that's good. Little sand.
Oh, sand. Yeah, there's a hypothetical for you. Imagine you're just chilling out on the beach. And then there's...
It's French.
I wonder if we would have ever discovered the how to turn lead into gold if Henry IV didn't make alchemy illegal. We'd probably know. And gold would be not as expensive as it is now. But he made it illegal.
That's what Isaac Newton spent his entire life on alchemy. Yeah. That's what he did. He never got married, spent all his time alone.
But we have technology
he had a
now.
lot of great. He wrote a lot of great things, but he was convinced he can make gold out of other elements. And like I said, it's only happened once, and that was with mercury.
To be fair, it is possible.
Mercury only
didn't have the chemistry.
Yeah, mercury's right next to gold on the element table, right? Yeah. So you only had to ionize it a little bit or add a whatever it was, and hey, I got gold, but I spent way more than all the gold
or whatever.
Yeah, you ionize one of them. You ionize just like they make nuclear stuff. They enrich uranium. They create new elements. That's strontium 90, right? Strontium 90 is a specific element that's caused by nuclear fusion. In other words, so yeah, you could probably create gold with a nuclear explosion, but that nuclear explosion is going to be more expensive than any of the gold you create, right? Anyway, that's stupid sidebar. I'll shut up.
Okay, then I guess that's my hypothetical, and that's the show.
Right?
I have nothing else to really say. There's still, we already talked about it. There's still no international days until January 24th. So we're just sitting here taking care of ourselves, taking care of your mental health, relaxing, going back to work and all that bullshit. We'll be back. This has been Allison here from the Netherlands, Roger from the East Coast of the U.S. We'll be back tomorrow for Wacky and Weird Wednesday, in which we will cover all the wacky and weird stories that have been going on. Which there have been a lot of them, but we're going to try to find some that are just... not completely born out of not living in reality, I think. Some of these stories, hopefully, people are still living in reality.
It's going to be weird story. Just weird. Yeah. Just imagine the word weird.
Just
define
weird,
it yourself.
Wackiness. Yep.
Deviant behavior, we call it. Deviant behavior. Yeah, that's what we call it.
So don't forget to subscribe to the Before Coffee podcast channel to let YouTube know you guys enjoy watching us ramble on about whatever news is going on all week. And of course, thank you everyone who's already subscribed, already following on Twitch. Thank you for giving us all the attention, and please keep giving us more attention. Turn on those notifications so you know when we go live and post a video.
Attention.
And here is our painful mic drop moment.
Well, take a look at this video.
Painful,
This is incredible footage.
Yeah, because you're talking about how the Buddhist was walking on glass and stuff. I know not all these people are.
You can see
it was just one.
Only one.
Part in the walk with them as well.
Maybe
Hundreds,
one.
That's a lot of people.
1,000 or more people. Now, it took the
They're all
monks
wearing
about
shoes,
30
and they're not
minutes or
following them the
so
whole
to
way.
walk that
They're just
bridge
following
and
them to the
make
edge
their
of
way to
town.
the State House. Once
I mean,
there,
that's,
Most of these
kind of
people
like
the city of Columbia,
Forrest.
Columbia Mayor Daniel Rickman.
What's the name of that show? That
Forrest
movie?
Gump.
Forrest Gump. Yeah.
This was day 7.
Right. People started joining him. Some people left. Some people went with him all the way.
Yeah, we don't even know the story. We just saw individual clips of it. So
Well, it's not real. It's a
they
movie.
actually went up.
But I'm just saying, this is real life Forrest Gump.
News 19's Jamin Wade is there.
Except they have a
Except they're
reason
not
to
running.
be walking.
Saturday morning,
Yeah.
just after 10:30,
They're
people
walking for
began
peace.
It's
They're
a-
not just walking because they
waiting
just felt
to see
like
the
it.
monks make their way towards the State House. Supporters traveled from across the southeast to be a part of the
There's
walk. I spoke to one woman who made
Hundreds
the
of
trip
videos
from
about
nearby
this, by the
Savannah.
way.
So we left
Hundreds.
at 5
Like
a.m.
every
this
news
morning
station covers it.
to come down here
It's
because I knew the
you
monks
know,
were going to be here.
eventful.
From
and
Texas
the
to-
My friend
monks.
said, "Hey, you want to come with me to see the monks?" And
From
I jumped at
Texas
that
to South
opportunity.
Carolina,
About
there's a lot of
2 o'clock, the
states in
monks made their way
between. So
across
every
the
station,
Derby Bridge.
every
The
TV
1.3
station in
mile
between.
walk to the State House drew thousands of people,
Has
many
covered
stopping
this.
to wave, cheer, and share words of encouragement along the way.
Doing this about 3 days ago. I knew nothing about it. And so I started following it 3 days ago, and I'm like, oh my God, they're coming to Columbia. Because I'm originally from Athens, Georgia.
Okay.
And they didn't go through there, and they was coming to Columbia. I'm like, oh, I get to see them.
After leaving the State House, the monks continued on to the Lutheran Theological Seminary, where more than 1,000 people gathered to hear them speak.
I think it just shows the hunger and
about
desire
peace.
people have for this sense of peace in a world that
I really wish that was
increasingly
true.
feels so violent and so full of hatred. To really see,
This is why we have Good Tuesday News Day, anyway. This
Yes,
kind of stuff.
100%. We are dedicated to
To see
peace.
that happen here tonight on our campus has been a huge gift.
I
We
love
also
being
heard from the
bored and
person
nothing
handling public
happening and
relations
nothing
for the
going
Walk for
on. That's
Peace,
all I
who
want.
explained the goal behind the long journey.
As you already know, 2,300 miles.
If we lived in a peaceful world, these monks wouldn't have to be walking anywhere. They would just be in their temple, trying to reach nirvana, you know?
You know, wherever we
Without war, we would not know what peace was. That's the paradox.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
healing, right? So
Although there's relative peace, right?
Yeah.
components are
There's peace of mind and
A
there's
teacher-
like actual global peace. It's a totally different thing.
The monks will continue their walk Sunday with the
Peace
trip
for
from Blackwood.
a kindergarten
You can find
teacher
more
is,
coverage
oh my God,
on
those
our
kids are
website
finally
at
That's
WLTX.
peace.
They're at recess,
Reporting
yeah.
in Columbia, Jamie Wade, News 19 WLTX.
All right, thanks.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old